Greetings, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of the Julian and G.K. podcast, fresh off of Summer Hiatus. I'm your host, Julian, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, actor, comedian, and all-around wonderful man, G.K. What's going on, man?
Man, the hiatus was so long, do you realize that not only have we been on for a year, but Jamaican Alpha has officially lasted longer than American Alpha. Let that marinate.
Yes, that's actually true. I did not realize that until this very moment. The tag team that we, based our whole Jamaica Alpha gimmick on is no more since Jason Jordan's now been revealed as Kurt Angle's true son, which is very odd. But I think we all knew that Kurt had something, for the darker skin complexion back in when he was having a thing for Charmel when he was feuding with Booker T all those years ago.
Yeah, but also you know what I really think it is? I think it's like people in the WWE, the brass, they were just chilling at home one day, and all of a sudden there was a marathon of different strokes. all of a sudden, the Blind Side came on. They were like, "Wow, you know what would really work for Jason Jordan? Give him a white dad."
That's what he's missing.
I really think
I agree with you. I think that's what happened. They just said, you know what he's missing? He's got the look, he's got the skills. He just needs a white daddy, and then they'll be all set.
Like strutted in the bathroom, like, "Hey guys, have you seen Webster?"
I really don't doubt that might be what actually happened.
Yep, I'm telling you, man. Like, now that I have the inside scoop, man, now that I've actually been in the brass, I've been next to brass, face to face, hand in hand again. Yeah, I had an audition for a feature film on Friday, and then I was walking through Times Square and minding my own business, right? Yeah. And then I looked through the glass doors, and I'm like, yo, why is there paparazzi in the store? Usually there's paparazzi, usually it's outside, what's going on? I'm like, I walk in, and I'm like, it's just Kids Foot Locker. Why would there be commotion in Kids Foot Locker? And then, the paparazzi was surrounding your boy Rosenberg and Carmella. Carmella complete with Money in the Bank briefcase. Wow. And then I look around, and I'm like, oh, snap. They done turned Kids Foot Locker into, Summerslam Central. And they had everything in there. They had apparel. They had these new fly designer Legends T-shirts. They had
I've seen those shirts. Those are dope.
Yeah, I sent you pictures in a video, man.
Yeah.
Which I hope you appreciate because I actually got threatened by security.
I really did appreciate it. You really got in there. You deserve a photographer credit for the quality of those pictures.
Yeah, man. And there's no price to put on my manhood. Because think about it. It's one thing to be threatened by security, but see how much manhood you have left when you get threatened by security at Foot Locker. Not just any Foot Locker, Kids Foot Locker.
Yeah, because it is a little weird if a grown man goes in taking pictures at a Kids Foot Locker. So I do appreciate you taking that bullet for me so I could be able to see all the cool little things that they have there.
Yeah, there you go. And the T-shirts are dope though. I'll give them credit.
Yeah. I think the designs are really cool. I might have to cop them. I've been in a wrestling T-shirt phase lately where I've been copping a lot of wrestling T-shirts because it used to be deemed as uncool, I guess. But once you're married and have kids, you don't really care about being cool anymore. Now I'm just I want to wear a wrestling T-shirt. I don't care who judges me. I don't really have a social life anymore. So these things do not matter to me anymore.
Yeah, man, I've been rocking my Macho Man shirt with pride. So hey.
Yeah. Well, Macho Man always get even people who are not wrestling fans. I have a Macho Man shirt, and when I wear it, people will say, "Oh, Macho Man." Ooh, yeah, and they'll do the whole thing and and I'll be like, "Oh, you watch wrestling?" They go, No, I just know who Macho Man is. And I go, "Okay." So I thought I had a friend, and then they shut me down.
But that's what I'm saying. I always put thought into that. Remember 10 years ago when WWE first started doing that designer, I think it was called top rope shirts. Yeah. Yeah, man. I tried that for a while, and I tried wearing it to the clubs and everything, and it was just they look fly on the website, but then once you got the shirts themselves,
Yeah.
And there were prototypes, right? Like there were only 3. There was an Undertaker one, which is what I got. It was like black and then blue and purple. There was a Triple H one that was like all black with them Greek letters that nobody understands. Those phrases.
Yeah.
Like Armateus, Tarazzi, Robitussin, which is like I don't know, supposed to mean spit water and fury. I don't know, like whatever. And then and there was like this beige and green Shawn Michaels one, which I was not having. And yeah, man, I remember I went on a date with my Undertaker shirt thinking, yo, this is fly. You know what I mean? Like the muscles, I'm looking like the total package out there. Pun intended. And she just looked at me. She just couldn't get over the shirt. Like I pretty much looked like a walking Instagram filter. Pretty much is what I look like. The design just doesn't make any sense in real life. So so simple. So sometimes simple is better. And to further prove my Shawn Michaels point, which I've been telling you for years, that usually people of color weren't really feeling Shawn Michaels like that.
Yeah.
Like we respect him as a performer and a sports entertainer, but we were not trying to go to school with assless chaps, sexy boy, and rocking blonde mullets. Yo, everybody saw that damn thing that went viral, right? The Subway Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was good. What were your thoughts on it?
Well, first of all, for people who ain't never been to New York before, like, oh my God, wasn't that illegal? How do you do that? No.
Yeah, anything is legal on the subway.
Yeah, like that had to be late at night, right? There was no way you couldn't do that during rush hour, right? So number one. Number two, if it's gonna be late at night, every regular New Yorker, we all live in our own bubble. We're all focused on us. You know what I mean? So there was no way anybody's gonna complain and stop it. You know what I mean?
No.
Okay, that's the kind of weird stuff that we'll just let slide.
Yeah.
And 3, I'll give them credit. They actually put some thought into it. A budget, a crew, a camera crew, editing. You know what I mean? Like they gathered all their friends together because this is clearly all friends. There was no way people auditioned for this.
No.
And 4, come on, man, be a real fan of the product, right? Like for example, Stone Cold came in, right? Mm-hmm. All right, so you know how sometimes when certain tourists, when they take pictures, they always put up the peace sign, but they put up the peace sign the opposite way?
Yeah.
Their palm facing, with their palm facing?
Yeah. Right.
So who told this dude who was Stone Cold Steve Austin to flip up 2 middle fingers with the palm facing? And that's just Stone Cold. That's not a thing anybody does. I mean, that's number 1. And number 2, you see how fast Shawn Michaels got eliminated and thrown off that damn train? That's my point. My original point. Kane won the whole thing. They had more love for Kane than Shawn Michaels. Let that marinate for a second.
Yeah, it's true. I always liked Shawn Michaels just because I thought he was different, and his athleticism was just second to none. But I do remember that in grade school, everybody was for Bret Hart. Bret Hart, that was everyone's favorite. And I love Bret Hart too, but I like Shawn Michaels more. But I was like the pariah of the class because I preferred Shawn Michaels over Bret Hart. Because like you said, the brothers are not feeling Atlas chaps and Playgirl magazine. They weren't down with that.
I'm like, hey, no disrespect. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like he didn't cross over.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't cross over. I think now and because I'm part of a couple of different wrestling groups, and I have one that's exclusively for black wrestling fans, because we are a big minority when it comes to not just in the country in general, but when it comes to wrestling fandom. So it's nice sometimes to I have different groups that has all types of different people. It's nice to sometimes get the perspective from other black fans, because we notice stuff that we view as either racist or kind of weird or whatever that other fans might not gravitate to. And I've noticed that nowadays people are appreciating Shawn Michaels for what they are, but a lot of people do admit that back in the day he was not one of their favorites. He didn't become one of their favorites until his second go around, when he wore regular pants and was Christian Shawn Michaels, and that's when people started to like him more.
Yeah, and he was right. and he was older. Like, that's what I told you. I wasn't in the 90s, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
When I took my 2-3 year hiatus from watching wrestling completely because you just weren't hot in there was a time in the mid 90s where you just weren't hot in the streets at all if you watched wrestling.
Yeah.
You were just because it lost its mainstream appeal, and then when you kids, you know, like first of all, kids they're not paying for pay-per-views.
Nope.
And it's just like there was nobody cool to emulate, right? Like you know, the Hogan era was done.
Yep.
The Hulkamania era was done. You know, there was no Warrior.
Yeah.
And of course, you don't know it's fake by now, you whack.
Exactly. That was like I think between 93 and 96, that was like probably the hardest time to be a wrestling fan, especially as a kid, because like that's when your other friends who grew out of the wrestling phase were making fun of you for still watching wrestling. But I was like always a loyal fan to a fault. Like I would still watch it during the days of like Duke the Dumpster Droese and like, you know, Phantasm and like, you know, or wherever the hell his name was, Fantasio, the dude that like was like a magician, mime, whatever. Like when that, it was just like really horrible gimmicks. And I still stuck around because that's how big of a fan I was. But it was really bad. Like it was like dreadfully bad, and it really did not kick into gear until the NWO started. Once the NWO started, that was kind of like the spark that ignited the wrestling industry again. So that made, you know, Vince and WWF go, oh crap, we actually have to like put in some effort, otherwise WCW is going to put us out of business. Because they were able to just coast by for years, just being the WWF. But then once WCW actually gave them real competition, that's when they, like, you know, actually put thought into their storylines and made compelling characters again the way that they had in the 80s.
Well, I mean, okay, let's also put it like this, right? I would say the wrestlers that we identified with the most were the ones that had the most swag. Were the ones that had the most like that unique, that you like, that just that smoothness, that aura that you want to emulate. You know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where Macho Man came in. That's where Flair came in. And like even like a DiBiase. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. True.
You know what I mean? Like even like Rick Rude. Like, you know, he was the original Mr. Steal Your Girl. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You could really relate to. And then, but they weren't really people of color though. No matter how much they hit tanning beds.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So I give WCW credit. They were the first ones trying to incorporate, you know, black people as real main event stars before WWE got to it. Remember, Ron Simmons became WCW champ in 1992. Yep. But because it was WCW, it wasn't as big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know, like it's one of the most underrated tag teams of all time. Doom, him and Hacksaw. Yeah. But they had Jerry though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Jerry Curl from the early 90s.
Curls was only hot in L.A. for like a few summers. You know what I mean? That was not in New York.
No.
I mean, so you couldn't really fully identify with that. Then, remember, we're from New York, right? Yeah. And we were in New York, and you know, we had no lives, so, you know, ladies were not there. So we was home on Saturday night.
Yeah.
And MSG would play ECW.
Mm-hmm.
And ECW had hella black people.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They had New Jack, Mustafa. They had Tuco Scorpio. So Tuco Scorpio was my real. I'm like, this dude is dope. This dude is athletic. I mean, like,
exactly.
He was like 70s, you know, but still, like, he was like he had a fade, and he was clearly a world-class athlete. Mm-hmm. And he had swag, you know what I mean? And, you know, he had that theme song that was kind of catchy. Tuco Scorpio! You know, and he had women with him and all that. But remember, ECW was, quote-unquote, kind of real, right? Yeah. You know, they had butt-naked women. They had dudes jumping from the ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, it was, you know what I mean? There was a real, like, authenticity there, right? And then, you know, all of the stars that we grew up watching, they started jumping ship. Yep. Hogan went to WCW. Flair was in WWE for a little bit, but then went back to WCW. Macho went to WCW. Piper, Heenan, Oakland, they all went to WCW.
Yeah.
It was like your favorite players being traded to an inferior team, or just a team that's not your favorite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then when NWO happened, that was when it was like, okay, WWF is they're gonna try to fool me with this fake Diesel, fake Razor Ramon stuff. You're gonna insult me like that?
Yeah, that was still awful. Like, I still can't believe they tried to pass that off to this day. It's ridiculous.
Right, and then WCW, to their credit, they didn't bring him in as Ramon and Diesel. They brought them in as Hall and Nash.
Yeah.
Outsiders. That was smart.
Yeah.
And that had never been done before. And then it started to pick up. But then I was like, there was still something missing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was maybe because it was WCW.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I just couldn't give WCW WWF level type love.
Yeah.
Much of a New Yorker for it.
Yeah.
But then I'm telling you, man, it's the summer of '98 was when I got it. Two things happened at the same time. Goldberg happening at WCW, and I don't care what color you were, what your culture is. Like Goldberg, everybody relates to that.
Yeah.
Anybody can get hyped by what he did.
Oh yeah.
But then SummerSlam '98 happened to be in New York.
Yep.
Garden. And that's when I saw The Rock for the first time.
Yeah.
But for real, like he was featured. It was his biggest match to date. It was a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship with Triple H, who I was familiar with, during my off and on hiatus.
Yeah.
But this was a DX Triple H.
Yeah.
So there was something new and fresh about it. Because remember, when you're kids, you only know what you know. And if you like something initially, you don't want that thing to change at all because nothing has ever changed in your life. So I'll admit it. The WrestleMania 10, 1994, when they started doing like the ladder matches, and they didn't have Hogan, so so it was the first Mania with no Hogan.
Yeah.
And then they started doing the ladder match, and I'm like, I understand the importance of the ladder match and what it and how it was ahead of its time, and it set wrestling and sports entertainment into a new dimension. I get all that.
Yeah.
I did not like that match at all because it was even though I couldn't conceptualize it intellectually at the time. I remember watching this match thinking, okay, the good old days are done. You know what I mean? Like wrestling as I knew it is done. So that's what that match looks like to me.
Yeah.
To this.
To this day, still?
Yeah, man, I can't really watch them. And plus, things get better in time. You know what I mean? The internet is better. TV is better.
Yeah.
The quality of wrestling matches are better. Ladder matches are better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not the best ladder match of all time.
No, of course not. But it's like there's been far superior ladder matches to that. But I still think it holds up very well, especially for the time. Like I remember when I saw it. Like my mom wasn't buying pay-per-view back then. That seemed like something only for rich people. So she definitely wasn't doing that. But I had an uncle who would do it. So I watched WrestleMania like maybe 3 months after it happened because I went to my uncle's house and he had recorded it and saved it for me. So I watched it. And I still remember to this day the feeling that I had watching that match for the first time. I was just like, is this even possible? Like it did not seem like to see two men beating the crap out of each other with a ladder. I was like, well, this can't be fake. Like I know that they say wrestling is fake, but I said, but who would subject themselves to this? Like it just seemed it's not even plausible to my 10-year-old brain. So like I still have a fondness for that because that's what made me respect the performers more. Because before that match, like if you look at wrestling and you look at the Flair matches, it seems like of course they put in a lot of effort and like a lot of Moxie had to go into it and they had to like get punished and all that. So that they were really doing a lot of damage to each other, despite everything. But that was the first match that I saw that I was like, holy crap, these guys are like going to probably seriously injure each other. Like it made me respect that they were doing this for my entertainment even more. So that was the match that made me kind of respect the performers more.
No, I understand that, but it was also Okay, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. Those are two guys I knew, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But these were two guys that were doing something that, to me, in my young mind, wasn't really them. It wasn't like the them that I knew. I didn't know Razor Ramon to be a ladder match kind of dude.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? I just knew him as a dude with a hairy chest, weird accent, throwing toothpicks at your eye. Right? Oozing machismo, right? Shawn was just supposed to be pretty and sexy boy, da-da-da. A ladder didn't seem to fit that for me either. So it was like, it was just a whole different style. And also, you know, I was going to ECW for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was like, man, WWF is doing Saturday night at midnight stuff during WrestleMania.
Yeah.
This is just like mind blowing. I don't know how I feel about this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, old people are set in their ways and young people are set in their ways, man. Like it's like you're changing one of my favorite things, and I didn't ask for this change.
Yeah.
Remember, we're kids. If the product is whack, we don't know.
Yeah.
If their stock is dropping, we don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, especially back then, right? If Vince has beef or, like, you know, if there's stuff happening behind the scenes, dirt sheet, da-da-da, we don't know. We didn't know. We weren't going to call 1-800 hotline and pay $4.99 a minute for Gene Okerlund to tell us nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's how you got your news back then, your inside news.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look, we're not making it up.
No, that was a real thing.
Yeah. So, and 1-800 numbers, 1-900 numbers. Yeah. Has to be a history of that. And a lot of people made hella money doing that. And if you know how things are now, you're thinking, why the hell did any of that work? You're right. I don't know how any of that works, but there were empires built on 900 numbers. And we're not just talking wrestling inside information. Look it up.
Yeah. It was, 900 numbers back in the day. That was like the forbidden fruit if you were a kid. Like, they would tease you with all these things, call this 900 number, whether it was about wrestling, whether it was about gaming tips, whether it was about, like, you know, seeing stuff that maybe you shouldn't be seeing at such a young age when it comes to, like, you know, naked women or, like, you know, chatting up to you. Like, as curious young boys, these are things that you were interested in, and you would drive up your parents' phone bill, call these numbers, and then you would get grounded. At least that was my experience.
Right, thinking that your parents don't read the bill and can't figure it out.
Exactly, figuring that my mom would not notice the $80 difference in the phone bill from last month. So these are things you did as kids. So these kids nowadays, like, I hate to be that old man, but these kids nowadays got it so easy, man. You just go on the internet, they can find anything. Back then, we had to search, we had to scour to find the smallest thing.
Oh man, man, you don't understand how. Of course, see, I'm late to everything, right? Like, so I just joined Instagram 2 weeks ago, right?
Yes. I was very proud of you when I saw the request. I was like, oh, we finally joined Instagram. Amazing. Yeah,
it took a 2-hour family intervention for me to get me to even think about joining Instagram. That's what it took. For those of y'all that are interested, I'm on the gram at GK Williams NYC. It's there. It's real.
It's up, finally.
It's up. It's public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not even private. You know what I mean? And you want it too. Jules X.
Yes.
See, there you go. See, we in there. We on that. Yes. So I was also late to the world of internet and online. And then when I found out that one of my more socially awkward friends, like, lost his virginity, like, I was really proud of him. We were like, what, 16?
Yeah.
I was like, yo, how did you do it? He's like, yo, AOL.
Yes.
Wait. You mean the email? Like, no, they have chat rooms. I'm like, wait, what is a chat room? So, there was this thing called AOL chat rooms where all these strangers with their screen names, and they would just, from all over the country, would just join in 24 hours, 7 days a week on, like, random topics. So there were chat rooms for singles.
Yep.
So this thing really happened. And I was like, okay, if he can lose his virginity, imagine what I can do. I don't know why I thought that. And you cannot send pictures. Pictures are not a thing. You find somebody you vibed with, you know, with their screen name, which is really not their real name, obviously. And then, like, if you really, really were into each other, the next step would be if you didn't want to exchange phone numbers, the next step would be you would give them a mailing address, and they would hand mail you real pictures.
Yes, that actually happened. And then eventually we had scanners so we could scan it. Now, mind you, you could scan like one photo because it took forever to scan that one photo. So everyone would just send the same photo like over and over again to like 900 different people. But then, but yeah, that's how it was back in those days. Like, I'd say a good 50% of the first, like, couple of girlfriends that I had were from AOL. Like, it was strictly going online, going to the teen room, like finding if there's anyone in New York, saying let's hang out, hoping that I wasn't being set up to be robbed, and then that's pretty much how it went. And then sometimes you got lucky and the girl was attractive and you go, oh, okay. And then other times you were not so lucky, and that's when you had to leave and pretend that your name really was Julian.
Wait. How have we known each other whole lives? You never told me this. You were bagging chicks on AOL? You actually succeeded?
Oh, of course. That was that. Yes.
Hey, okay, shout out to everybody, right? See, Julian's a self-proclaimed nerd.
Yes.
Nerds were winning, man.
Nerds were winning in the internet age. That's what, because the thing is that in real life, I am painfully shy. I don't like talking to people, like, when I first meet them. Like, if I know you, I will talk to you. But if I don't know you and it's my first time ever meeting you, it's very awkward to me. So I did not do well at, like, clubs. Like, they had a whole bunch of, like, teen clubs back in the day. Shout out to Club Hollywood in New Rochelle that I used to go to all the time as a teen. So they used to always have all these little teen clubs, but I never did well there because I was too shy. But on AOL, you just go online, you just be yourself, you don't have to worry about anything, and then for some reason chicks dig me, they dig my humor and like the stuff that I would say in the chat rooms, and then they would private message me and then ask me where I live and all that and see if I wanted to hang out, and I go, all right, and then I'd go. And, like, out of the, however many women, like I say, half of them were, like, pretty attractive. And the other half, you saw why they were online looking for dates.
See, I don't get it, man. Like, okay. My friend who lost his virginity from AOL, like, dude, this dude was so whack with the women in real life that I gave him not one, not two, but 3 girlfriends. I don't know how I did it. And I just remember that with one, she asked him to write her a poem about her. Yeah. And he was like, dude, can you write this poem? And then, like, I literally just wrote Joe, like, the things your man won't do, verbatim. Right. And then she was fine as hell, and they dated for 4 months. Yes,
I'm telling you, man, that is how it happened. Like, one of my first girlfriends I met from AOL, and she was fine as hell. She wound up being semi-psycho, so that's why I kind of realized why she was getting her men from online. But we lasted about 3 months, and she was really cute, and it was from AOL.
How did I miss the boat with this? Like, the one summer where I tried this. So these are the 2 things I remember. One, I remember I was in the chat room, and like you said, it's a chat room. So all your messages, it's for the group to see.
Exactly.
So you have to win over the chat room first. Like
exactly.
You have to say something clever in the chat room for one of the other people, and hopefully she's a girl. Like, ha, that was funny. That was funny. Roxroy 982, which was my real screen name. And then I'd be like, thank you, Chelsea 107, and then. All right. Then she'll send me like a private, like a real AOL instant message, right?
Yeah. So
these are the 2 things that I remember, and I'm like, I still don't know how y'all had more success than me. I mean, I get it. So I was talking to this one girl, and she was like, I could tell you're how old are you? And I was like, what? I was in high school. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I can't my real age.
Yeah.
And she was already in her 30s or something, right? Oh. Conversation that I'm a little young, and I'm like, nah, girl. Like, I was actually making my voice sound deeper even though I was typing, right? And then she said, all right, I have a quiz. I have a quiz for you. I'm like, a quiz for what? To see how old you are. I'm like, okay. Asked me a question about light bulbs. And then the other question she asked me was, who was the third lead singer in Journey?
Oh, wow. Oh, okay. that is, you would really have to be in your 30s at the time in the 90s to get that question right.
Right, so I blew that one. So then I started talking to this girl from the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
And, like, we hit it off, and then she was like, okay, how about we exchange pictures? Like, what's your address?
Yeah.
Right? So this was the summer when me and my best friend, we decided to do the AOL chat room thing for a summer for real. So we came up with aliases for real. So because we weren't going to give out our real names.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would go that far. So he named himself Baron Herzog for the summer. and one of my favorite NBA players at the time was Antoine Walker. So I decided to name myself Antoine Runner, right? So, just in case they ask for a name, I can have a consistent name to go to. I'm not thinking it's going to go very far. So when she asked for, real mailing address, a real picture, I was like, oh, okay. And, I just lost 30 pounds in the summer, you know what I mean? So I had extra pictures, like, the wallet-size joints.
Yeah.
So I sent her one, and her picture, she got my picture before I got hers. She was living, like, in Utah or something. And she made herself sound so cute. And, she really liked my pictures, and she really wanted to know more about me. But then when I got her picture, and I gave her the address to my dad's office.
Mm-hmm.
Son, man, and this is no disrespect to her. This is just like a funny, unique way to put it. I let somebody else look at the picture and was like, yo, son, why does she look like a frozen wombat? It's the thing, though, right? What the hell is that supposed to look like? A, what does a wombat look like? B, frozen.
Exactly. She could either be a wombat, a frozen wombat.
C, damn, that's accurate. Yo, she was not looking right. Now, she's probably a beauty queen now. I mean, she had braces on and all that stuff. All right. But,
All the girls I knew that were young that had braces are, like, gorgeous now. All the ugly ducklings in their 30s are now, like, gorgeous.
I had braces. Braces here. Like true story. I started high school not only with braces. I couldn't get braces because I had an underbite. Yeah. So they gave me this metal contraption for the top of my mouth that you had to adjust with a key. It was like a metal spider attached to the top half of my mouth. And every time you adjusted the key, it was like, okay, remember when you had adjustable basketball hoops?
Yeah.
Change the height of the basketball hoop. You put like a broom or something up there.
Yeah.
Against the latch, and you push, and you can raise the height of the rim, the height of the hoop up or down.
Yeah.
That was my mouth going into high school. And whenever you adjusted it, it would spread the top line of my teeth further out. Cure the underbite. So pretty much, and then if you know you did a good job, and you have to take the metal gear out once you successfully look like Michael Strahan. Because the gap in my front teeth was so big, and apparently that was by design.
Yeah.
And once you start, you have to finish it because you're already messing with like your natural like bone structure and growth. So if you don't do it right within the allotted time, they have to break your jaw and start over.
Jesus.
So that's how I started high school. So I'm like, okay, what's my reward for looking like Michael Strahan? Oh, now you get the braces. So, it was just...
I think we both went through that awkward phase as kids, and then we blossomed out of it. You stayed blossomed out of it. I kind of reverted back into it. So that's how it was. But we had our blossoming moment in high school, and luckily AOL came around the time that I blossomed because I went through a growth spurt. I grew 7 inches. I lost a ton of weight. I started being more athletic. So this is when girls started paying more attention to me. And the reason that I had success with AOL, and I think the reason you did not, is because you were in chat rooms with 30-year-old women and people from out of town. I would specifically go to the New York City teens chat room. That's what you had to do. So I was around girls my age, and I knew that they were for sure in New York City. Because, I had friends, and they would, go to other chat rooms and flirt with girls from other states, but I'm like, what good is that? We're 14 years old. What are you going to do? You going to drive to Texas to go see this girl? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I had, like, a friend, and he felt like he was, like, in a deep relationship with some girl that lived in Wyoming. And I was like, dude, you're never going to Wyoming in your life. And she'd probably never come to New York. He never met this girl. But in his mind, they were dating.
But see, but like, I was just learning how to flirt, my dude. Like, that's all. Like, I was just like, how do you talk to girls? This is the question. This is one of the main questions I had in my life until age 19. To know what it was, have a long-standing thing with a girl where you say something and she says something back. That's it.
I think that AOL was like the best thing. It helped break me out of my shell when it came to talking to girls. It made me realize what worked and what didn't work, because there were lines I would use that would work, and there were other lines I would use that, like, the girl would just, like, instantly disappear. Like, you'd have, like, a good rapport going on, and then I'd try to throw in a smooth line, and then she would just, like, immediately stop responding to me. And I'd go, okay, don't use that line anymore. But there would be other lines that I've used that if I used it on various girls, it worked every time. And I was like, this is what women want to hear when they're talking to a guy that they're interested in. So that kind of helped develop my game. Because it was trial and error.
All right, okay, then let's be real for the people. Give me one of your go-to lines that worked, that always worked. What was like, come on, man. You can be real. You married now.
I'm trying to remember. It was usually it was like a long time ago, so I'm trying to remember some of my best lines. But the lines that I use that I think women like more gravitated toward, like, if you try to go and be like, oh, what's going on, shorty? Oh, you looking real good in your profile picture, when they eventually have profile pictures. Or like, and whatever. That's what would usually turn them off, when you're just showing them that you're literally only interested in how they look. And even though that is, like, really what it is, you can't show them that. So the lines that I would use, it would just be like something along the lines of, who's your favorite, like, whatever show was out there, who's your favorite Dawson's Creek character? That's when Dawson's Creek was popping. And almost instantaneously, the girls would, either say, oh, Joey, or, whatever. And then to make the thing interesting, you always had to go against what they said. Even if your favorite character was Joey, you couldn't agree with them, because now you're boring. You had to be like, Joey sucks. I liked Pacey. Pacey's the best one. She said, oh, Pacey's a jerk. And then they would have a little rapport there. And now you have something in common, and this is when they open up to you. And then even if they say, oh, I don't watch Dawson's Creek, then you go, oh, well, what do you watch? And then they would, mention that, and then you go off that. That's how you kind of develop something. You find some common interest, like, that they like, and then you just develop it from there. Because if you just immediately go into, oh, you look good, boo, blah, blah, that's a turnoff. Like, some women who are vain, they'll like it, like, in the short term. But if all you ever do is tell them how good they look and how much you want to meet them, then they get turned off by that. You have to, appeal to their senses and to, their things that they actually like. That's my tip of the day. And that still works in real life to this day. When I give my single friends advice, I say, just find some common ground with them, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, until it goes wrong. Like, I agree with. I'll give you an example, right? So I was just at this party in Brooklyn, right? Mm-hmm. With a few of my cousins, right? And it was my cousin's girlfriend's roof. Mm-hmm. So we in there, and it's intimate. There's maybe 20 people. You know what I mean? Like, everybody knows each other. I only know the cousins and the girlfriend. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it was very cliquish. So. So I'm there, I'm chilling, my own business, I'm drinking, and then the cousins were like, yo, I think you should talk to that girl. I'm like, why? Mm-hmm. I don't know, because she's cute and everything, but okay, but I'm not really here for that. Plus, this girl, she's clearly part of some sort of Mean Girls crew, because they're not socialized with anybody else but each other. Even when they get up to leave, they all get up to leave together.
Oh God.
I mean, like that vibe is already wrong off top. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but then, because they're drunk as hell, they tell the girlfriend whose roof it is. Mm-hmm. So she all of a sudden comes out and we're like, yo, I talked to her and she thinks you're cute. I set it up. Go.
Oh, God.
Right? I just had brunch with them, my first New York City brunch. That's a whole different conversation. I just had brunch with them today. And
I saw that online, that you had your first brunch ever, which is amazing.
A whole different conversation. I had valid reasons. But still to this day, these cousins and the girlfriend say that they did not force me to talk to this girl. I mean, like they still think, like, yo, it was your free will, you didn't have to do it. I'm like, no. If you're going to come at me like that, then if I don't do it, then I'm going to get it worse from y'all later. So I had no choice.
Yeah.
So to talk to her, I had to talk to, like, pretty much the whole crew, right?
Yeah.
She was significantly younger, right? Mm-hmm. And my looks don't give it away, but I gave it away when I told her I don't have Instagram. And
yeah, that's a true sign of an old man.
Right, and I really don't know or care what it is. And then she asked how old I was, and then I told her what it was, and the age difference was more significant than we thought. But she was still, like, intrigued by that. Like, that was different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But so then Beyonce came up, right?
Yeah.
And then, so, you talk about commonalities, da-da-da-da, and this is where it goes wrong. This is where keeping it real goes wrong.
Yeah.
So they're bringing up Beyonce, da-da-da-da, and I was like, yo, but you know what's crazy, though? If you ask most dudes, dudes prefer Rihanna over Beyonce. Mm-hmm. Son. There were conversations during this rooftop party, do you sell out if you date outside of your race? Or, what's going on in the world of politics? Mm-hmm. Pretty heated topics, especially for, a Brooklyn rooftop summer party when you're just chilling.
Yeah.
Son, they almost had to call the cops when I just said, "Hey, fellas, Rihanna."
I could have told you that. Something I will always say, you never, ever, ever disparage Beyonce. And it can't, and it won't even be disparaging. It could just be something like, oh, I didn't like her latest album as much as 4. You could say something like that. And just by saying that, it will set women off. Beyonce is like a deity to them. You can never say anything wrong about Beyonce. I've had good friends that have been friends with me since we were 4 years old, who basically were ready to disown me when I said I didn't like a Beyonce song. That I could have told you that. Don't ever go against Beyonce when you're talking to a girl. Just always assume that all women like Beyonce, because 99% of them do.
All y'all are telling me the same thing. But look, my point is, I'm not wrong. Look it up. Who has more Billboard 100 hits? Rihanna does. It's facts.
Course.
Even if you include Destiny's Child in it, Rihanna has more hits. That's facts.
These are facts, but you said the key thing. Guys prefer Rihanna over Beyonce, which is the truth. 95% of my guy friends, if they had a choice between Rihanna or Beyonce, they would choose Rihanna, because Rihanna, A, seems more fun. Rihanna, in my eyes, is prettier. I know some people love the way Beyonce looks. Beyonce, don't get me wrong, is a beautiful woman, but Rihanna just has the sexiness that Beyonce does not have.
Rihanna came out the Hey, my dude, I saw Rihanna come out the subway.
That's one thing. Beyonce ain't riding no subway. That's what makes Rihanna more attractive, because she seems more down to earth. She
would never be on no damn subway.
Never. And
look, I just say nothing bad about Beyonce. I just said dudes prefer Rihanna. That's all I said. That's not a bad thing. Come on. And look, fellas, let's be real, all right? When we're trying to get hyped, when we're trying to get motivated, when we got something big going on, it's just something just to turn up the positivity. Our playlist does not have "Let Me See Your Halo."
No.
We want to go out and we trying to get with the girls and have a good time. We're not like, yo, put on that freakum dress.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That Beyonce is 100% for the women. About 2 years ago, I took my wife, my beautiful wife Jen, to Vegas, and Beyonce was performing there, so I got some tickets and I got her into the concert. And literally, I'm not even exaggerating, 90% of the crowd were women. And the only men that were there, including myself, were there because we got tickets for our wives/girlfriends. That's it. That's the only reason we were there. We all had the same look of just being defeated and just oh God, I really must love this woman if I'm dealing with this, as being at a Beyonce concert for her. It was all women. But if you go to a Rihanna concert, you see everyone, guys, girls, all races. more people like Rihanna, in my view, whereas Beyonce is typically like only for women.
No, yeah, more people like Rihanna the person because you actually feel like you know the person. You know, Beyonce is such rarefied. I'm like, she's Queen Bee.
Exactly. She's like, that's what I'm saying. She's like,
I didn't know that I was
aura.
That I was going to get swarmed and attacked by the queen of the beehive, which is what these girls were. But, I mean, look, who's a better singer? Beyonce. I know. Who would be a better concert? Beyonce. I know.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah,
dudes like,
talented.
Dude, like, you know, like, come on, like, bitch better have my money resonates.
Exactly.
The dudes.
Exactly. Rihanna makes songs like S&M. She makes songs that guys will like, or like Birthday Cake, because she's very sexual. It's like, and she does not try to hide it. So guys are into that, and they like the sexiness that she exudes. Beyonce is more like, I want to uplift black women and know that, you know, they're great, which is a great message. Don't get me wrong.
She wants to uplift women and Adele. But the point is, but Rihanna is also catchy. That's the thing. Rihanna is catchy.
Yeah.
Rihanna is signature and catchy. Beyonce is just overwhelmingly like better than you.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like it's like that's a whole different thing. You know what I mean? Like for example, I like Alicia Keys. I respect the hell out of Alicia Keys.
Yeah.
Have, always will.
Mm-hmm.
Are not in regular rotation in the soundtrack of my life. No,
of course not. Alicia Keys, but that's what I'm saying. She has a very specific market, and like Alicia Keys' market is mainly black women and like, you know, other women who like, you know, the positivity that she gives off. But that's it. There's not a lot of guys who are going to be bumping Alicia Keys. There's not like, it's Rihanna is more diverse. Like young kids like her, old people like her, like guys like her, like whatever. Like Beyonce, Alicia Keys, they all have specific niches.
That's what I'm saying. Like if I was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, you know, I'm on a girls' basketball team and I need to warm up and it's time to do layup lines. Yeah, blast girl on fire.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm just saying that's not helping me. That's just not going to help me do a Smith machine. You know what I mean? That's not helping me do box jumps.
No.
That's helping me tie my shoes to get ready to do box jumps. That's not helping me do the laundry to put on the socks, to put in the shoes, to tie, to go up and do box jumps. Doesn't mean it's just, you know, it's me. And yeah, and to wrap it up, yeah, like me and that girl, it was dead after that, which I'm glad for, because you know I wasn't trying to do it anyway. Yeah,
exactly. But that's the one recommendation we will tell all the male listeners today is do not disparage Beyonce under any circumstance, especially if it's a girl that you like or even mildly interested in. Just don't even take the chance because they most likely like Beyonce.
Look, just praise Beyonce, all right? Just like, because anything less than praise is considered disparagement. Exactly.
So we got about 10 minutes left in the podcast. So what I want to do before we get out is Summerslam is on this Sunday. Actually, we're recording this Saturday night after Takeover, which was fantastic. Did you watch Takeover?
I did.
Yeah. Like real quick, what were your general thoughts on it?
Well, my first thought was, you know, as much as things change in NXT, like, you know, they bring in new guys and, you know, they bring in, like, new indie guys, a lot of the things stay the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is the first time, and I think because they're just running out. Like, this is the first time where they had all these indie debuts and ROH debuts, and I just, like, Like, well, I know these. It's like, because also, first of all, remember, all right, I mean, spoiler alert, Drew McIntyre won the NXT Championship, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, really proud of that dude.
Yeah.
And it brings up two things. It brings up two things for me. One, which is my point now, because they waited till the very last second to play this up. Drew McIntyre is so much bigger than Rude.
Yeah.
And Rude is big, comparatively speaking, if we're talking non-WWE / indie guys.
Yeah, but Drew McIntyre is like a beast. Like, people don't realize how big he is, especially since he left the first time. He bulked up. Because he used to just be tall and skinny. He had like a very edge-like body. But now he's like tall, he's 6'6", and he's jacked. He's like 250.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Unless you're something special, unless you're Brian or Rey Mysterio, like, you can't be cruiserweight or little. And I see you as serious and viable against bigger world-class athletes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I think maybe Enzo should go to 205 Live. Maybe Chad Gable should go to 205 Live. You know what I mean? But like, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, that's still box office. You know what I mean? Like, because remember, like we're both over 6 feet. We're both over 2 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we even our size, even though we're not world class athletes, we're still like we're still physically a size that most people aren't.
Yeah. True.
You know what I mean? So when I saw McIntyre like pressed up against these dudes, and then all they can do to replenish the roster, because clearly they're moving Roode up.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like, as they should. But then they brought in the 3 new guys today, and they're little.
Oh, well, I think I know exactly what they're doing, because I think they had Drew win because, like you said, they're going to bring Roode up, and Drew's going to be the face of it. But when you look at all the guys that are in NXT right now, they're all relatively small. Like, the only other guy that's, like, an intimidating size, like McIntyre, is Killian Dane, like the big dude that's part of Sanity. So, but everybody else is like, you know, kind of indie size. They're like, you know, maybe 5'10", 190 pounds. They're not going to stand up to Drew McIntyre. So I think what they're doing is they said, okay, we don't have any challenger that's going to realistically challenge Drew McIntyre just from a size standpoint. So what we have to do is create a stable that, like, can beat him down to, like, you know, take advantage of it. So I think by debuting, you know, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole tonight, that's like 3 guys, like, individually they can't beat Drew McIntyre, and I think they know that. So they're like, let's team up on him, beat him up, beat him down, so that one of us can get an opportunity at the belt, and when we get an opportunity, he won't be 100%, because that's the only way we can defeat him. So it's basically strength in numbers.
I get the storyline, but my point is, like, when you debut, especially when it's one of your top shows, it's supposed to be a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're running out of indie dudes that they haven't used yet that they can have that big deal effect. And part of it is because these dudes are literally not big dudes. So tonight was the first night where it's like, okay, they debuted new dudes, which is like, but it wasn't like they debuted Joe or Kevin Owens. Like, you know, like that. It's hard for me to mark out for little dudes and little dudes that like I don't really know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they might be big in the indies, but they weren't as big as the dudes that WWE's already debuted in NXT.
Yeah.
So I think the well is running a little dry there. So that's one thing I took from today. And 2, the other thing I took from tonight is, damn the Shield. Let's talk about one of the greatest 3-man factions in WWE history, 3MB. The Shield. The Shield is, think about this, Jinder Mahal, WWE champ. Heath Slater, Diamond in the Rough, has mad kids. And now Drew has cut his teeth in the Indies and he's now the NXT champ. Come on, man. 3MB has had a better 12 months in the Shield.
Yeah, that's true. Like, especially when you factor in Heath and Rhino's, like, tag team title run, where they were literally the most popular team on SmackDown, which nobody could have predicted. But Heath had a good run there. And then, like you said, Jinder won the WWE title. Drew came back. He won the NXT title. Yeah, like, the 3MB went from being the laughing stocks of the industry, like, as recently as 2 years ago, to now 2 of them are champions, and the other one had, like, a successful tag team run and was one of the most popular teams last year.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm saying, man. Like, hey, it could happen.
Yeah.
For those for those of you hating on this Jinder Mahal run, you shouldn't. Because if anybody represents like the whole everyman underdog comeback redemption story, it's him.
Yeah, I actually love that they put the title in Jinder Mahal. The only thing I don't like that they're doing is they're doing the whole evil foreigner gimmick, which to me is just it's old. It's 2017. I just wish that they would have Jinder just be like, I'm like, even if they did the rich guy gimmick with Jinder, which is what I thought they were doing in the beginning, where it's just like, I'm rich, I'm better than you. I would prefer that over like what happened on SmackDown, where he just wants to celebrate Indian Independence Day, which is like, who wouldn't want to do that? If you're from a country and it's your country's Independence Day, you want to celebrate it, especially if you're champion, and then they do it like in a way where he's going to get booed for it. And I'm like, why would you boo a man who's just celebrating his heritage? It's ridiculous. That's the only thing I don't like about the Ginger thing. But I love him as champion.
You are black wrestling, and you still have to ask that question?
Of course, but I'm like, when is it going to stop? Like, when is it going? Like, are we going to be like dealing with like anybody who's not a white American? Like, it's going to be like an evil foreigner for like the rest of creation with wrestling history? It's like, it's 2017. Like, come up with better gimmicks for people who are outside of the U.S. Like Jinder could be a super effective heel champion just by being, I'm rich, I come from money, I'm better than you. Like, so I don't need to respect you. That's a perfect gimmick. And that's kind of what they did in the beginning. And then for some reason, they just completely flipped it on his head. And now it's like he's evil Indian that's like saying that you don't respect me and boo you American. And it's like, why did he even have to get there? Why didn't it just stay on course? I'm rich, I'm better than you, and screw you.
Because he didn't have legs to stand on. He lost for 6 years straight. Number one, so he has to have backup. And two, like being rich doesn't help. Like that's even less plausible than him all of a sudden, having to win. I mean, he can win. I mean, like he can just start piling up wins. They just don't have to be clean. You can do that. But like being rich, like what's he gonna do? The modern day Maharaja has just one Powerball. Like, and then like, and then because of that he wins. Like, I don't think the money thing. Yeah, the money thing probably wasn't doing. I like him having money now in correspondence with him becoming champion.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But that was perfect. It was like he
had
money.
Like when we make fun of NBA players all the time, when it's just like, when they're rookies, they can't dress for nothing.
Exactly, but then once they get a little bit of coin, then now they're like, now they're super fashionable and stuff like that. And that's how I felt like it should have been with Jinder. They could have explained him being rich, like that he got an inheritance from like a rich uncle or some crazy thing or whatever. They could have easily come up with something that explained why he has this influx of money, and then just he gets a cocky head up because of it. And like he hired
all of a sudden not Jamaican, but in reverse. You can't let the rest of the audience think too much.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like but I don't know. I think that the tipping point for me was at the Battleground pay-per-view when they had evil Indian Jinder in one match, and then they had evil Bulgarian Rusev in another match. And I'm just like, how many evil foreigner gimmicks are we going to do in the same pay-per-view? It just seemed kind of redundant to me. And I'm just like, could we not, like, especially like Rusev, it disappointed me because they seemed to be going on this good angle where it was like Rusev was basically like, I'm a world-class athlete. I deserve to be treated as such, so I'm not going to come back unless you give me a WWE title opportunity. And then they just got rid of that storyline and then just went with, I'm an evil Bulgarian and I hate America. And it's like, why would you get rid of such a good storyline, which is that Rusev feels underappreciated and he's not going to come back unless he gets a championship match? It would make perfect sense.
I'll tell you exactly why. Because clearly sometime after WrestleMania or during Orton's title run, all the original plans went up in smoke.
Yeah.
So I think the return of John Cena is all part of this. Because everything was on that course before John came back, right? Mm-hmm. So now that John's back, I think it's clear. Like John's time, he's not full time anymore.
No.
Right? But John, for years, whether people want to admit it or not, or whether people notice it or not, he's been trying to do his damnedest to put people over.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He just put Nakamura over as Super Queen.
Right. That's what I'm saying. But why else would you just give that away on SmackDown? You know what I'm saying? So they clearly had other plans for Rusev.
Mm-hmm.
But when Cena came back, they needed something for Cena to do because for SummerSlam. Because I think he said, look, I'm here for like another couple of months. SummerSlam's coming up. Who do you want me to put over?
Yeah.
So they figured, okay, Shinsuke would be a good draw. Like, you know, we peaked on the Mahal run.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we got what we wanted out of that. Time to put the belt on Nakamura.
Yeah.
So build up Nakamura, and you know, maybe this, and you know, now that we have Jinder doing so well, we really, it's kind of redundant to have another evil foreigner.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna like fast forward and throw this Rusev thing, and then like, you know, we'll figure out something else later. Meanwhile, Baron Corbin, like, you know, he's been doing well without you, but you know, we need to put the title on Shinsuke. So we don't really know if Baron's ready for that world title run yet. So how about you just put him over? Like, we'll get rid of the whole Money in the Bank thing. How about you just SummerSlam, just give him a good match and put him over?
Yeah. And
so everybody wins, and Cena stays out of the title picture. So I really think that SmackDown scrambled, and this is what they came up with.
Yeah, and I could understand that. I just don't understand like why they had to make the gimmicks of Rusev and Mahal both be evil foreigners. Like I can understand how they had to scramble because they realized that Corbin isn't ready to be champion, and like, you know, Cena's not coming back full time, and and like you said, they got what they wanted out of Mahal. Like, they expanded that audience in India. What they said, they're getting like amazing ratings in India now since Mahal became champion. So I think they don't need him to be the champion anymore for those ratings to continue, and they realize that. So now they can move on to the next person that they want to build up, which is Nakamura. So I get all that, but it's just
right,
like,
but Rusev was with Shane.
Yeah.
And now Shane's embroiled with the Styles KO thing. So I really think, so clearly what's happening tomorrow was not the original plan in any way. And also remember, Orton flopped his champ.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I'm saying. It was a complete flop as champ. But I don't know. I just feel like they could have gone a better route into, like, I still want them in the same position. I still would want Mahal to be champion. I would still want Rusev, like, facing Orton at SummerSlam. Those are fine. It's
and
just
Doug,
like...
Shake-up again. How are you going to do 2 shake-ups in a year?
Yeah, I know, but it's just... Because I think that they're realizing that they made the wrong moves in the last shake-up, and now they're going to try and correct it.
It's been a down year, and they're scrambling.
Yeah, exactly, because I think they just... Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And so tomorrow is going to be like, it's just going to be... I'm telling you, it's like, okay, oh, damn, our original playlist doesn't work. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so I really think, like, tomorrow's going to be better than people think, because they have no plan. They have no real plan. Like, this is all like some hodgepodge put together type thing. So, like, tomorrow's a mixtape. It's not a playlist.
Yeah, I feel like anything could happen tomorrow. Like, I think it's the first SummerSlam in a while where it's kind of unpredictable. Like, I really can't predict any of the matches. It's like, yeah, you would think, like, and we'll talk about that. I'm just going to run down the card real quick, and then we just give some general thoughts before we get out of here. Because, like, the show tomorrow for the Universal title is Lesnar against Reigns against Joe against Strowman. The WWE title, we talked about Mahal against Nakamura, Cena against Corbin, Balor, the Demon Finn Balor against Bray Wyatt, AJ Styles against Kevin Owens for the U.S. title, Alexa versus Sasha for the Raw Women's title, Cesaro, Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team titles, Naomi against Natalya for the SmackDown Women's title, Randy versus Rusev, Big Show versus Big Cass. So that's what's on the main show, and then we have like a couple kickoff shows like New Day versus Usos and the Cruiserweight title match. So, I feel like none of these matches are like I can 100% predict and say, oh yeah, this is what's definitely going to happen. because, like you said, they're in such scrambling mode right now. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what their plans is for the rumored superstar shakeup that's going to happen after SummerSlam. So I feel like it's really anybody's game right now.
Yeah, but also, what's your level of excitement for these matches is the other question.
Well, honestly, the only matches I'm really excited about is the main event. Joe, Strowman, Reigns, Lesnar, all in a match together. Like, they've kind of been building towards it. I will say that the WWE's had its fault the last couple of months, but one thing they've done very well is building up Strowman and building up Joe, where they both feel like they completely belong in this match with Lesnar and Reigns. And I could foresee any of the four of them winning. It would not be a far-fetched to see Joe walk out as champion or see Strowman walk out as champion because they've been built up so well. So that's the one match that I'm really intrigued about. Everything else I feel is kind of like a rehash that's already been done or something that I'm not super excited about. But, I think overall, depending on how they book it, it has the possibility to excite me. So I think, if they just go the ho-hum way, where they just, go with the expected winners, it can be boring. But if they kind of mix it up a little bit, I think it could be a very interesting pay-per-view.
No, I think it's going to be interesting. But interest is different than level of excitement, right?
Yeah.
Who's going to tell a good story? Who's going to tell a good? Because I'm telling you, this is a down year. We're going into this SummerSlam, and I can honestly say I'm not intrigued by any of these storylines going in.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Yep.
So my only hope is the unpredictability of the actual matches and the outcomes, right?
Yeah.
So since this first shakeup, I think there's only been one winner on each brand since the initial shakeup. Mm-hmm. I think on Raw, Alexa Bliss won.
Yeah.
Except now, but the whole damn division is faltering.
Yeah.
On both brands.
Yeah.
So I can't knock her for that.
Yeah.
She is the top dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think she won out on that, and then on the flip side, New Day.
Yeah.
They're getting a really fresh second run. They're the only ones that I feel like they went to a different brand, and the change of scenery was good for them. It was like when you trade a player, just give them a new jersey and a new system, but hey, both hoops are still 10 feet. The court's still 96 feet long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Really freshened up New Day a lot.
Right. And it actually worked for them. So I'll give them credit. And I actually want to see that match. And I think Sheamus Cesaro versus Seth and Dean could work. Yeah. I really think that could work. I still think they're going to bring the Shield back together. I don't know if that happens tomorrow. Yeah, I'm predicting that it happens tomorrow. I feel like Seth and Dean win the tag titles, and then they interfere in the main event and help Roman win the championship, and then that fully reforms the Shield with them all being champions. Okay, yeah, that's fine. So it'll pretty much be like Bash at the Beach, like 2017. Yeah, exactly. But here's the thing: I don't think Braun is winning because, Braun is this decade's. On this trajectory, he's this decade's Batista. The older guy that the WWE found, then it took them a while to figure it out, but then all of a sudden they just built him out of nowhere. He just gained momentum just by him being big, and WWE just not messing it up. Yeah. Somehow, some way. So I feel like he could have a Batista 2005 run, and I feel like if that's the case, he can't win until WrestleMania. Yeah. So that's why I don't have Braun winning tomorrow. I think it's the whole point of the 4-way is for Brock to lose, right? Yeah. Yeah. So I think Joe might have the best shot. Yeah. Because I'm overthinking it. Yeah, I think my gut is going with Joe. But I think that if they want to kind of swerve the fans and go towards a full-blown Shield reunion, you could have Dean and Seth help Roman to win,
And then I don't know if they're going to try and present them as faces or present them as heels. I think it would be better if they were heels, but I think that WWE is fully set on Roman being their golden boy, and they have no plan of turning heel. But that's what makes tomorrow interesting. So I'm not excited about it, but if they book it correctly, I will be excited.
Right. I mean, look, Seth and Dean are not good faces. Period. They never had been. And it's also what's Brock's UFC plan? What's his real plan? Because remember, John Bones Jones called him out. He wasn't calling him out because he was trying to get WWE to follow him on Instagram. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel like, and they said it would take him, because he still has to serve his year suspension. Brock does with UFC, so it would take him another 6 months to a year from the fight Jones anyway. Yeah. And his contract is up next year, and Brock's WWE contract is up next year.
Yeah.
So I feel like the ultimate payoff would be for him to be champion going into Mania and then dropping the belt to Braun or Roman. That would be the ideal use of his contract.
Yeah, of course. But I feel like what's going to happen is that they're going to, like, Brock's going to drop the belt. He's going to start training for UFC. They're going to bring him back, like, around near WrestleMania time, and that he'll, face whoever's champion at the time, and then that will be his swan song. Like, he'll be challenging for the belt that he lost. Of course, he doesn't get pinned tomorrow. I think someone else eats the pin, so you could say, I never got pinned and I lost my title. So he tries to come back for it, whether he wins the Rumble or however he gets there. And then he winds up losing at WrestleMania, and then that's when he finishes and then goes to the UFC to fight Jones.
Right, but nobody ends WrestleMania retaining the championship. You know what I mean? The one happened, it was the wackest one ever. It was Triple H, Randy Orton 25, which derailed Randy Orton to this day. Yeah,
it was hard. Well, I don't think that it probably won't main event. I think it'll probably the SmackDown side, the WWE title will probably main event, and then Brock will come back and challenge for the Universal title, which will be the co-main event.
The WWE title's not even main eventing SummerSlam, but so I don't think it's going to end. And I want to be excited about the main event because I really like both guys. I really like Jinder, and I really like Shinsuke. But can we be real about Shinsuke? We were right. WWE doesn't know how to use him. We were right. Come on, man. His opening match versus Zayn in NXT is still the best thing he's ever done. It's still the facts.
Because they don't know, they keep tweaking little things about him, which is messing me up. Like, they tweaked his entrance, and it's not as good as it used to be. And then the whole thing that makes Nakamura an enigma is his strong style, is the way that he fights. So it's like the realistic way that he fights. That's what makes him appealing in the ring. And they kind of took that away from him to make him fight a more WWE style. I've been seeing the strong style come out more recently. Like, he had a match against Baron Corbin a couple of weeks ago where he was very stiff and and Corbin was giving it back to him. And I thought that was a really good match. You saw it in the match with Cena where Cena was taking it and giving it, and I thought that made for a really interesting and entertaining match. So what I'm hoping is that they're finally realizing, okay, this is what Nakamura is good at. Let's have him fight this way instead of trying to get him to fight the way we want to fight. Like, that match against Dolph, it should have been a dream match, but they had it go by the cookie cutter WWE mid-card type of match with the left holes and the whatever. And that's not the way that Nakamura fights. It just made for an uninteresting Nakamura fight. And it's like, if you got Nakamura and you brought him in for a reason, let him wrestle the way that made you interested in him in the first place.
I mean, look, the only excuse I give WWE for that is that when he initially debuted, it was looking like he was going to have his first match with The Miz.
Yeah.
And then they had the shake-up.
Yeah, but that was their fault because Miz should have never left SmackDown.
We said this. We said
exactly.
This. Being optimistic.
Exactly. We try to be optimistic about it, but let's be real. He has the Miz Taraj over there, and they're at least trying to salvage something with him now. But he's pretty much been just floating since he moved to Raw. Whereas when he was on SmackDown, he was the biggest heel on SmackDown, bar none. He was nobody was touching the Miz. He made Dolph Ziggler, who people were pretty much like not even thinking about it anymore. He was so like because he'd been so forgotten about, he made Dolph Ziggler into probably the most popular superstar on the roster just by feuding with him, because that's how much people dislike The Miz. That's how much he made them hate him. And he made a great feud out of that. And then they moved him to Raw, and he just has been floundering since then. And it doesn't make any sense. Why would you move such a hot act to another show when he was already doing such a great job on SmackDown?
Exactly. I mean, come on. He's not looking like my 2016 Jammy winner right now.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like this is a very disappointing follow-up to the Jammy that, you know, he rightfully deserved last year. He was easily like the most entertaining wrestler. I'd say him and the New Day were the most entertaining wrestlers of 2016. And then they switch him to Raw, and he just becomes just another guy. Like, to the point where I'm not even excited for a Miz segment anymore, whereas when he was on SmackDown, whenever the Miz came out, I knew something good was going to happen. He was either going to give a fantastic promo, or he was going to have a great match, because he was having great matches over on SmackDown. They don't even allow him to do that on Raw. Now he's on Raw, and he has like 5-minute matches, and they're over. On SmackDown, they were giving him main event slots and giving him 20 minutes to work, and he was knocking it out of the park and having great matches.
I'm not even excited about Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles. Like, that's what we all should be excited about. And
yeah.
We're not, like, we just have to be honest, man. Like, yeah, we've had a hiatus, but this has not been a good year.
No, like, I think the reason our hiatus has lasted so long is because there hasn't really been anything worthy to talk about. Like, you know, because last year, I remember there were so many great things happening that we'd, like, you know, message each other and be like, oh, we got to talk about this. We got to do the podcast. We got to talk about this. This year, it hasn't had that feeling. Like, I haven't been excited about anything that's happened in the WWE in a while. Like, the thing that's got me most excited over the summertime was the G1 tournament that New Japan was doing, because Kenny Omega, I think, is like just going to another level, like where I haven't seen a wrestler being this good in years. Like, that's what got me the most excited, and that's never happened. Like, I always like other promotions. I always liked ROH and TNA and WCW, whatever, but WWE was always my focus. But this summer it hasn't been, because they haven't given me any reason for it to be.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. Like, tomorrow they have to blow it up. I mean, think about it, right? What has been the highlights of 2017 in WWE? All right, Southpaw Regional Wrestling. Right, that's back. Yeah. Right, the highlight. Just the nostalgia of bringing back Kurt Angle. That's a highlight. Yep. I think Goldberg's run was a highlight.
Yeah, and the Hardys' return at WrestleMania.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a highlight.
But notice, these are all highlights with, like, returning figures. We haven't gotten any highlights with the current roster.
And Braun's a highlight.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'll tell you right now. I mean, we still have the rest of the year to go. But if I were to give my 2017 Jammy for Wrestler of the Year so far, I remember this is... part of it is because it's a down year. I would give it to Roman Reigns. Yeah, like it. I mean, in all honesty, it probably would be deservingly going to Roman Reigns, because he is the one who has made Braun Strowman look like a friggin' superstar. And it's like, Braun was impressive before his feud with Reigns, but that's what really took him over the top, because it was a mixture of two things. It was the crowd's hatred for Roman. And Roman sold the hell out of it. Roman took a beating the way that, like, nobody. Like, the way that he sold for Braun, he didn't even sell for Brock Lesnar that way. Like, he made it seem like Braun killed him. And that's what made people start, like, taking Braun seriously. And I think that's what, because, like, if you remember before Reigns, Braun was, like, feuding with Sami Zayn and, like, getting count-out losses against him. Like, and trust me, I love Sami Zayn. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. But when you have a guy like Braun Strowman, he shouldn't be going 50-50 with Sami Zayn. But then he goes into the Reigns feud where he's, like, killing who's, like, perceived as the top guy in the whole company. And that's when people stood up and said, holy crap, this Braun guy is for real. And that's all because of Roman, because of Roman being willing to make Braun look like $1 million. That's what I'm saying. Like, Roman, I think Roman, he's finally like getting it. I mean, you can't knock him for, like, yo, you can't push him to the moon this soon because, you know, like, he's so green. I'm like, If you've been saying that for years, guess what he's been getting for years? 3 years of experience. Dude has headlined WrestleManias.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's 3 extra years of experience. And this is all his singles, post-Shield.
Yeah.
Dude, so he's been on the main roster for more than half a decade. He's seasoned now.
Exactly.
I don't have the physical ability. So like he's putting those, and he's embraced the fact that people don't like me, which is always the next step to stardom. The Rock did it, Cena did it.
Yep, exactly. Like, and I just don't understand, like, what, you know, I semi-understand the people who complain and they feel like he's being shoved down our throats or whatever. I can sort of understand that, even though I don't think it's as bad as they make it seem. But right, the one thing
But at this point, how many people are better than him?
Exactly, and that was going into my next thing, where it's like the one thing I can't stand that people say when I see them, like, you know, commenting online or when I talk to other wrestling fans, and they go, "Oh, he's not a good wrestler. He doesn't deserve it." And I'm like, "What the hell are you talking about? Reigns has been doing nothing but having great matches for like the last 3 years. The only match." That, like, big-time match that Reigns has had over the last couple of years that I felt was disappointing was the match he had against Triple H last year. Just because they had a big build-up to it, and I felt like the main event, like, you know, WrestleMania that they had was lackluster. But, like, even the match he had with Undertaker this year, and Undertaker was broken down as hell, and I still think that he made a good match out of that. Even though, like, Undertaker, you can see, he could barely move. And Reigns has just been, like, carrying these feuds. He had an amazing feud with AJ Styles last year. He had a great feud with Braun. Like, he's been having these great matches, and people keep acting like he is he's no good, and I just don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. It takes two to dance. You can't give all the credit to his partners. You got to give credit to Reigns also.
Right. I mean, like just like any other performer, especially if you're an athlete, and that's what I appreciate with all sports. People improve. Like when you have talent. Like, you can have talent, you can have physical gifts. Fine. You can have good fortune of being put in certain positions. Fine. And sometimes you're ready for it, sometimes you're not. Mm-hmm. But it's obvious for people like Reigns, for people like Jinder, for the Steph Currys of the world, like, you know, like, they put in the work. And when you put in the work and you dedicate yourself to the craft of your job, you improve.
Yeah.
You improve and you actually do rise up the ranks, and people do notice, even in something subjective like wrestling.
Yeah.
So it's a credit. I mean, sometimes you just hit a good point and you just stay where you're at, right? And sometimes that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes that's most of these guys, and that because the key word is potential. Mm-hmm. There are guys who are really good, and there are guys who have potential, right?
Yeah.
So. And, like, you're excited about people with potential because you don't know how good they could be yet. Like, so clearly, so their trajectory is upward, right? Roman is one of those guys, right? Like, Baron Corbin's one of those guys. Jason Jordan is one of those guys. Mm-hmm. That's why you invest in these guys. Authors of Pain are those kind of guys. Yeah. Those are people you invest in. Now, there are people that they just work their asses off to just get where they're at. Like AJ Styles is at. Kevin Owens is. They're not going to get any better. Yeah. And that's fine because they're pretty damn good. Yeah. And they're a lot better than people ever projected them to be. Yeah. I mean, that's why the Steph Curry story is so great. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I agree. But there are very few LeBrons. Yeah. Very few people are like, damn, that dude could be woo. Yeah. And you're excited to see if they're going to get there. And you're disappointed when they don't. Yeah. Right? So I'm saying, when you get those blue chip guys and you actually see them reach that, so that's what I love. I love underdogs who surpass, and I love people who have all the weight of the world on their shoulders and they meet it. Yeah. And I think Roman is that. Yeah, definitely. I think Braun is both. I think Braun had a lot of potential and nobody saw it. Yeah. I think Braun is. Right? Yeah, he's exceeding all the expectations. Like, I think they thought he'd be like a good, like, you know, enforcer or, you know, like good mid-card act, but he is very clearly a main event talent. And I think he's like, you know, I know WWE has been looking for years for that
Undertaker replacement. Like, who's going to replace the Undertaker when he finally retires? And I think if Braun continues on this path, he could be that. He could be that intimidating figure that has, like, this aura of invincibility that, like, when someone beats Braun, it's a big deal. And I think if WWE books him right, and if Braun stays on the right path, he's going to reach that level.
Right, and that's always been my problem with other people like Dolph,
mm-hmm.
or even Seth Rollins. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just, you know what I mean? They're just kind of like, either they're not making the best use out of what they got. You know what I mean?
Well, I contribute that to creative and all honesty. I don't contribute that to Dolph or to Seth or whatever. Because there was a time when Dolph was one of the most over acts on the show, and they just would not give him that push. And he was busting his ass in the ring, so it wasn't anything he was doing wrong. It's just that he wasn't their guy. They had other people in mind that they wanted to push ahead of Dolph, guys that were not ready for it the way that Dolph was. And I think that ultimately deterred Dolph because it made people stop caring about it. Because if they kept putting him in these matches that he kept losing, and if a guy keeps losing all the time, eventually you stop caring about him. And with Seth, they brought him back and after the injury, and they just completely derailed his momentum. He should have come back as a face. They brought him back as a heel, and then they tried to do a weird face turn, and it just didn't stick. So I contribute that more to the way that they're being booked than the performers themselves.
Okay. No, I mean there's validity in that. Like Bray Wyatt's a good example, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need the right fit. Rusev's another. Because physically Rusev has it, without question.
Oh, of course.
But you cannot say this is the argument I make all the time, right? Let's just take something like basketball, right? I feel and players themselves will tell you, right, that Kobe Bryant was not initially more talented or more athletic than Vince Carter or Tracy McGrady. I mean, he was still a world-class athlete, and he still had world-class basketball skills, sure. But I still feel, but Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, there are people there were more 6'6", 6'7" guards that were more physically gifted than Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
But Kobe had the mentality and the smarts or the drive or whatever it was, even good fortune, to work on his game and his craft in a way where his career surpassed those guys.
Yeah.
So I think the cream of the crop still rises. You know what I mean? Like Dolph Ziggler is more physically gifted than Bryan Danielson. Dolph is more physically gifted than Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So Booker T. It's ironic his name is Booker because he's a victim of bad booking like his damn whole WWE run. But King Booker was his idea.
Yep.
And that joint went way further than anybody expected.
Of course.
You know what I mean? But come on. Him and Goldust wasn't supposed to work.
No.
And he happened to be the champion of WCW when they did the whole invasion thing. So unfortunately, he had to be the head of that, and they were punking him.
Yeah.
And he survived all that.
Mm-hmm. True.
I mean, look at The Miz. The Miz found a way to reinvent himself later on. Jinder.
Yeah.
What Jinder did later on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Even someone like a Heath Slater, right? Will he ever be world champion? No. But I think that he figured out a way to make the most out of what he has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There are certain guys that I just don't think, for whatever reason, have put that together. You know who I think is the most consistent WWE superstar the last 10 years, and I'm not even fronting?
Who?
Sheamus.
Oh, yeah.
I think Sheamus would work in any era. And Sheamus, he's been consistent. Doesn't matter if he's main event, mid-card, tag team, whatever. Dude delivers.
Yeah.
He's consistent. And so that's what I'm saying. I think that's why I still think the biggest underachiever in the history of my lifetime of watching wrestling is the Big Show.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is everything we're talking about. A lot of it is booking. Well, a lot of it is him being the gentle giant that wanted to fit in, and he just wasn't an alpha.
Yeah.
If he was an alpha, there'd be nobody else in the business but him.
It's true.
Brock Lesnar. This dude is everything.
Yeah.
Damn thing. You know what I mean? So, so especially when it comes to performance and athletes, you have to know what your strengths are, and you have to figure out a way to make the most of it, because that will supersede anything. Booking, anything that's subjective, anything that will always take precedent.
Yeah.
I think Daniel Bryan understood that. I think CM Punk understood that.
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk didn't rely on booking or anybody else to get where he was at. Like, he was smart enough to run the show as much as he could.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think there are some guys that need to, like, you know, take some ownership of that. John Cena.
Yeah.
Cena's the greatest example of that.
Oh, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, and we're not no WWE corporate chills. I don't work for WWE. I know WWE brass says the same thing.
Yeah, of course.
But it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Truth. If you want to be the best, and the field is wide open, and if it's one of those industries where you being at your best benefits everybody else, then you have to find a way to maximize that. Mm-hmm. I think there are some people that get close, and then if they get derailed by that one thing or those two things, then they didn't fully figure it out. So Bray Wyatt hasn't fully figured it out. Dean Ambrose has not fully figured it out. Seth Rollins hasn't fully figured it out. The case that I'm making, though, is that even some guys, they can put all the pieces together, and they can still only go so high.
Yeah.
Some people just have higher ceilings than others.
That's true.
Reigns has a high ceiling. Mm-hmm. And Roman Reigns' ceiling is higher than probably anybody else on the roster, and he's close to the top of the ceiling, or you can see the rise. So I think you might not like him still, or people might not like him still, but I think it's unfair, or it's just ignorant to not acknowledge the rise and just not acknowledge that he's the top dude, and he earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was initially given to him, but he earned it.
Yeah, definitely.
Drew McIntyre earned this NXT championship. He earned it.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you can't. I mean, so there are people like Shinsuke and Bobby Roode who are coming from the Indies, and AJ Styles coming from the Indies, but they're damn near 40.
Yeah.
Past 40 years old. So they're not going to get any better.
No. Which
is fine. So put the belt on them now. Get the most out of their name now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But sometimes it's got to be. You have to know your talents and your gifts and your strengths, and when that preparation and those gifts mean the right opportunity in the right situations, that's when things really happen. And when those things don't happen, it's because it wasn't all the way there. Mm-hmm. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Some people, not everybody's meant to be world champion.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't. That doesn't mean you can't. That you can't be your best. James Ellsworth. I'm actually going to give him credit for something.
Yeah.
That's the best living example I can think of right now. This dude is maximizing his life right now.
Yeah.
Think about it. So you can't hate on the player, man. You just can't. You can't knock the hustle. So yes, James Ellsworth, I owe you an apology, bro. You are doing your thing. You making money. You on TV. You doing things that you never thought you could. I bet you nobody else thought you could do. But you doing it, and you've been doing it for damn near a year now.
Yeah.
So that's my life lesson for the day. Shoot. Yep.
So,
be positive, I'd say, and if things aren't going completely your way, that means you haven't fully figured it out yet.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good message, man. It is a good message. So,
and Roman Reigns, give him credit, he's figured it out. So, and you'll see it tomorrow.
Yeah. So, what are some closing remarks that you have? Because we're about to wrap up this podcast. Just in general, it could be about SummerSlam, about the state of WWE, but anything that you want. Like, what are some closing remarks that you have with this week of wrestling?
Well, the most important thing that we could that I could possibly say is best wishes and get well to Ric Flair, man. Like, I was so excited to they finally released the trailer for his 30 for 30.
Yeah.
So excited about it, and then just like not soon after that, we get the news that he's in the hospital, multiple issues, medically induced coma, and trending on Twitter, and I'm like, no. But this is the weirdest thing about it, and tell me if I'm wrong, because it's probably not something that people have said out loud, but they probably thought it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, life doesn't make sense all the time, right? There's certain things that happen to people, and they don't happen to other people, or whatever the case may be, and there's just no logical way to explain it.
Yeah.
Like Dick Roberts, he can't believe that he's still alive.
Yeah.
Compared to some of his other wrestling buddies who didn't go as hard as he did.
Yeah.
Like everybody dies, but not everybody lives.
Yeah.
I can't think of any person in any other realm of life who has lived more than Ric Flair.
Yeah, that's the truth.
So when this news started coming up,
mm-hmm.
Usually when this news comes up and it's about wrestlers, and so our beloved wrestlers, whether it be Piper or Dusty, or Ultimate Warrior, like those are the recent ones, or the more recent ones.
Yeah.
Like, shock.
Of course.
We're just like in such shock, like, oh my God, like, yeah, like, oh no, not him.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just like in shock that this could happen. Like, no matter how many times this happens to wrestlers that we are attached to, like, it's initially shocking.
Yeah.
When the news started coming up that Flair was close,
mm-hmm.
and be honest, because I'm saying this out loud,
mm-hmm.
shocked were you?
Shocked was I?
Yeah, because I will admit that for the first time, my shock level was not that high.
Yeah, like my shock level wasn't that high either when I saw it, but I think that for me it's just a culmination of like unfortunately of years and years of some of our beloved wrestlers passing away. That it's not a shock to me the way that it used to be. Like I remember back in the day when Eddie passed away, and even when other guys like Test or whatever, when they passed away, it was shocking to me because it was like it just seemingly came out of nowhere with them. But as we've gotten older, whatever, it's like now when I hear a wrestling death, I'm still saddened. It's like I don't want to make light of it. It's still a horrible thing, like when it happened with Piper and when it happened with Dusty. But I'm not as shocked. It doesn't I think the last time I was really shocked with a wrestling death was Macho Man, because it just came out of nowhere. It was literally just whatever. But when I heard about Dusty, I was sad, but I was shocked. When I heard about Piper, I was sad, but I was shocked. So when I saw this with Flair, I was like, oh God, please let him be okay. I don't want another legend to be gone so soon. But I wasn't shocked by the news because a lot of these guys, and probably by their own words, they led rough lives. They lived fast, and a lot of them, they died young because of it. So it's not shocking when it happens, but it doesn't make it any less sad.
But I was shocked with Dusty. I was shocked with Piper. But it's also the timing of the 30 for 30.
Yeah.
Because this happens all the time. Ray Charles passed away once Ray came out.
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior passed right after he was inducted to the Hall of Fame. Literally.
Yeah.
Not even 2 hours later.
Yeah.
It's just something about that eerie bookend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the feeling I was getting. I was just not shocked, and I'm just so thankful. The report today is that he's quote unquote that he's awake and quote unquote cutting promos.
Yeah, I read that too.
And I am happy to hear that because when Warrior passed,
yeah,
at least at least he got that moment, like that thank you farewell moment with the universe, with the WWE universe, and he made peace before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We've been saying this for over a year now. This documentary is going to make Flair the new official most beloved wrestling legend.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right? Living wrestling legend. In order for him to achieve and enjoy that status, he has to live.
Yeah.
So, and like, for whatever reason, he hasn't gotten the same mainstream acclaim and notoriety as Hogan and Rock and even Stone Cold and some of those guys. So like this is his chance. And like and he can reap the benefits now, but he has to live.
Yeah.
The documentary has to be released. Everybody has to be up in arms about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, learn about him and accept him and like him, and he has to enjoy it. He has to be here to enjoy it.
No, you're right.
So that's where my mind went, because I believe in that. Like, this dude it's a lifetime of work. Like, this is your chance to be remembered. Like, this is your chance to live forever.
Yeah.
I mean, before you stop living, like, I think you have to find a way. Like, what are you going to leave behind? Yeah. This is how he lives forever. This is his legacy.
Yeah.
He needs to be here.
True.
That's how I look. So Rick, get well. The entire Flair family. That we're wishing you strength and prayer, man. Like, we believe in you guys, and hopefully we'll see y'all around. We'll see y'all happy, healthy, and and Rick has a full recovery, and he'll be styling profiling again, because we're not ready for a life without the Nature Boy, man.
Definitely, and I couldn't think of a better way to wrap this up here. Get well, Nature Boy. We're all praying for you. So for the Julian and G.K. podcast, I'm Julian. Thank you once again to my great co-host G.K. And next week we'll be back and talk about these SummerSlam results and see if anything excited us about SummerSlam, since we're not too excited right now.
Exactly.
So for the Julian and G.K. podcast, Jamaican Alpha.
Ow. Check us. Instagram.
Yes. Check us on Instagram.
And YouTube.
And YouTube. The YouTube page is up at Julian and G.K. on YouTube. Check us out.
Exactly. And on Instagram, K. Williams, NYC, and Jules, XMW. We there. We're real, just like y'all.
Exactly. We're out there. Come follow us. Won't you?
Yes, and we'll follow you too. Share. Come on, we're all in this together. You know what I mean? We'll share with you. Man, let's do this.
All right, man. We out.
We out. Out.